Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video we have another flashlight review for you. So we've done the home defense flashlights and now we're going to take a look at a pocket keychain rechargeable LED flashlight. This is also offered by Olight. This is a sponsored video, but we're going to give our honest review and honest opinion just like always. So we'll talk about the specifications very quickly and then we'll get into the important stuff, which is the pros and cons of this specific light. So first off, that picture is actual size, so the flashlight is really quite small, and I'll show you it on a keychain in a minute so you can kind of get an appreciation for just how tiny it is. This is the Olight i1R EOS for those looking for it online. Quick specs, it's got two settings, a high and a low setting. Low setting is 5 lumens and that reaches out to about 13 meters effectively. The high setting is 130 lumens and it states that it reaches 54 meters, but I found it to go a little bit farther, roughly 60 meters or so. You are going to get different run times for those two settings. For the low setting, you supposedly get 7 hours of run time. I haven't been able to get 7 hours out of it on the low setting. It's just not something that I honestly use that often, so I didn't bother testing it. But for the high setting, I did get about 30 minutes of runtime, not necessarily 20. Keep in mind I am in a warmer environment, so that does affect battery life. The light itself comes in that small package. It comes with a micro USB charging cable, and it is going to function with all other off-brand micro USB cables, which is outstanding. The way you charge it is you screw the top off, and the charging port is right here. It takes about an hour and 15 minutes to fully charge. As you're charging it, a red LED will appear, and then it'll turn green once it's fully charged, which is a really nice feature. The light is also waterproof, submersible up to 2 meters, which is very nice, and you actuate it by tightening down the top part. So that's its small 5 lumen setting, and this is the 130 lumen setting, and as you can tell, even with photography lights on, it's still quite bright. So let's get into the pros and cons of it. The pros are obviously the size. If you can tell, compared to like a normal house key, it's relatively quite small. It's also very light. I believe it's under an ounce. Let me see, it says on the back here. Yeah, 12 grams. So incredibly small, lightweight. I barely noticed that's in my pocket. As a guy that's already got a lot of stuff carrying in his pockets, magazines and extra multi-tools and stuff like that, and another pocket knife, I don't really want to carry an extra flashlight. However, with this thing, I barely noticed that it's there. The grips on it surprised me when I first saw it. With the anodized finished, I figured this would be too slick and that when it gets wet your hands are going to slip on it, it's going to be hard to use, but that hasn't really been the case. Again, the power output is great for such a small flashlight, and I love that I can recharge it. Now, there are a few cons for the flashlight. First off, I don't like the way it attaches to the keychain. I've had a couple of things on my keys in the past years with small keychain attachments like that, and those rings tend to wear out after a while. I haven't noticed it with this flashlight, but again, it's only been about 2 months, so there's still time for that. The finish, I'm not a major fan of. It's starting to wear down on this side of the flashlight due to it just being in constant contact with the keys. So I would like to see a different finish that is a little bit more resilient on this. It's not something that really bugs me, but I know some people do care about what the flashlight looks like and what their gear looks like. On the back part, when we do have that connecting piece that seems a little bit weak, I would like to see a hook, kind of like a carabiner setup. I would like to pay, I'd pay a little bit more for something that's a little bit more resilient. The way it functions, I'm also not a major fan of. Like I said, you have to tighten it down in order to actuate it, but what I've noticed is if I turn it off and I have it sit in my pocket, there's an opportunity, if you push down on it hard enough, for it to complete the contact and then stay on. I haven't had it die in my pocket yet, which is why I've waited about 2 months to test this, because I wanted to give it its fair trial to see if it would kill the battery. It hasn't happened yet, but I don't like that when I turn it on, there's no positive feedback. What I'd like to see is a click for the low setting, and then another click once I hit the high setting, and then finally a click for the off position. I think that provide a little bit more comfort and a little bit lower risk that the light's going to run itself out. Finally, the last thing I don't really care for is the charging itself. I don't like that I have to unscrew the entire top in order to charge it, just because I'm clumsy and I'll probably lose this thing like I just did. So those are really the only complaints that I have with it. For what it is, a keychain light, you can't expect much. It's only really $17, so it's not something that you're going to be getting the World for. I would love to see a $25 option where it has the upgrades that I've been talking about, maybe a slightly more tactile grip and with those positive feedbacks. But overall, it's a pretty solid flashlight. I mean, you can't ask for much in a rechargeable keychain flashlight, but the i1R really delivers on that. So if you guys are looking for a small gift for somebody or a backup flashlight for yourself, then this is a pretty solid option and I'd consider it. I know there's some on the market that boast some pretty comparable features, but if you're looking at the Olight, this one's pretty solid. Heads up, I believe it's going to be on sale mid-August, so if you're thinking of picking one up and 17 bucks is too much for you for some reason, then you can stand by for a little bit and maybe get it then. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and throw them below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.